Okay, guys, I just have to ask, are any of you okay with watching, like, actual violence on screen right now? I promise it's kind of funny, because this is Richard Spencer gets his face domed level of violence. Just, if you guys have not seen this video, right here, and I'm just gonna ask the question, how much harassment are you supposed to take before you try to get somebody away from you? How much harassment? Technically, per American standards, there is no level of harassment you can take that justifies you attacking somebody. I understand that. However,
is your guys' son or daughter? Or?
Son.
Awesome. And are you guys a couple?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Cool. So, have you ever heard about the...
Am I the only one that's hearing that through only one ear? Because I feel like I'm only hearing it through one ear. That's, agitating.
Son.
Awesome. And are you guys a couple?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Cool. So, have you ever heard about the statistics coming out that gay men are statistically much more likely to commit child molestation?
So, I'm just curious. Let's say that you're an average United States parent. Just real quick. Let's say that that's the case. And let's say that you're a viewer of my channel. So you have the ability to comment about this and subscribe. But you are a parent with a child, and some random schmuck comes up to you and basically tells you, point blank, you're going to rape your kid. Because make no mistake, that's what this is. That is what that is. So when somebody says that to you, I'm just curious, what is the appropriate response to that? CJ Sauna says, who starts a conversation like that? I just sat down. People who want to rage bait to the point where they can say that they are a victim. That is the kind of person that does that. They are very, very, very stupid people.
No.
You've never heard about that before?
Crazy. Yeah, no.
Yeah, don't you think it's weird that you guys have a child, but neither of you are a woman?
So, dude's obviously egging them on, starts out by saying, hey, one of you is gonna rape your kid. And then follows up with, it's so weird that neither of you has a coochie. Just continue.
No.
You don't think that's weird?
No.
So you had a surrogate? You paid a woman $50,000 to be pregnant?
Who are you?
And build an emotional connection to a baby?
I'm gonna fucking kick your ass.
Hey, don't take my mic, dude.
Fuck you.
I'm actually concerned for your baby's, like, safety.
Concerned for you.
And I love how this is being framed 100% as this guy is trying to be professional victim. He's trying to be professional victim. Look, he's just caring for the well-being of the kids. That's all he's doing, guys. He's just caring for the well-being. Make no mistake, the world that people like Matt Walsh want, where surrogacy and adoption and all that stuff for people who are homosexual, banning that everywhere is to make a billion more of this guy right here. Because, I'm gonna be honest, if I were a parent and somebody came up to me and told me that I was going to rape my child for any reason, I carry a gun.
They're asking you to leave.
Yep. And that every single bit of that is what you deserved. Legally, you should not have done that. Morally, you are correct. 110%. I give not two fucks about anybody who tries to use the defense of the law. We once permitted slavery. We are currently supporting a genocide in Israel. I don't give two flying shits what the law says in regards to here. I recognize that as a bit of practical information, I have to so that I don't get arrested. But personally, in my heart of hearts, I can't give a flying shit. Our lawmakers are a joke. The people who would be looking at this case... I'm actually curious. Hold on. So, legally... Said it's fucking weird. Why are they weird? Yeah, why do these people exist? So, legally, generally speaking, this isn't legal advice, I'm not an expert. Generally speaking, any force that is used in self-defense has to be proportionate to whatever threat you are dealing with right now. And we do have a concept about words not being enough to justify any particular physical response. Again, I understand that that is the case, but just, again, if you're a parent and somebody is telling you this and you're out on the street, what do you do here? What is the appropriate level of response? Ignore the legalities of it for just a moment. Where do you get? Ravi says, may the fires of your former society be the light to guide you forward. Bragwin says, notice how all the straight manly men fled from a singular gay man who had the righteous anger of a parent protecting their child from them. Yeah, the guy who is actually protecting the kid is the person who is the parent here, not the person who is telling the parent that they are actually a rapist who's going to molest their kid. Now, again, as a practical matter, you cannot do this. And I say that because when you engage in physical assault, you are gambling with what will happen to the person. If you push somebody and they fall on the sidewalk and their head hits the curb and they die, you have killed a person. That's what you've done. You have physically assaulted a person and they have died. Those are the dice you're rolling. So, again, as a matter of practicality, don't do it. As a matter of moral justification, I think these people should not be taken seriously. And I think that there is an argument to be made that Richard Spencer is not taken seriously anymore because he got humiliated on camera, getting his face caved in by a random extra person. Said, Chakaday Eyes says, technically you should be the bigger person and walk away from the idiot saying stupid shit, but I fully understand the crashing out. I do not believe in the being a bigger person thing all the time. I recognize its utility, but there are circumstances where I believe that turning the other cheek, being the bigger person, taking the moral high ground doesn't always work, especially in politics. Wits don't work. Wits? I don't know if wits. Robbie says, what if I tell them to bite the curb first? Jesus Christ. Bragwin says, especially when said bigot would have followed them to their home if given the chance. Chogaday says, that is fair for me. I'd rather not get into a scrap if I'm trying to keep myself safe. Again, I understand. I 100% understand. And for me personally, I don't have a reason to assault anybody, but I do not understand the mentality of trying to bait me into doing it. Like what do you gain there other than just damage? Like, let's say, for example, that I got doxxed and somebody found my address, but did not go into my driveway. They just decided to stay out in the public area of my house and harass me every single time that I left my home. At a certain point, I would have had enough. And I think most people would get to the point where they've had enough of that. And the person who instigated everything is the person who used the dox in order to go do that harassment over and over again. That is the person who is technically at fault, morally at fault. But our legal system doesn't really see it that way all the time. So...
Guess what? You guys are together. You all deserve to be killed.
Killed for doing really?
Yeah.
Killed.
Boom, 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 boom.
I agree. Like, not in the literal sense where I think that another human being should die. I don't. But the sentiment... the idea that the person who is baiting other people into assaulting them by being a horrible piece of shit and calling people rapists on the street, the idea that bad things should happen to that person, I understand it. I get it. I feel it in my heart of hearts. I get where he's coming from. I agree with the sentiment. I don't agree with the punishment. I don't think that they should die. I'd rather them learn. But I agree with where they're at. Choco says the worst part is that people like this are trying to get the aggressive reaction to justify their worldview, that the people they hate are dangerous monsters. Right, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You say that the other side is filled with dangerous monsters, and so you push them and push them and push them to make the argument that they are dangerous monsters, and you push them to the point where they feel like they have to either get you away from them or defend themselves or something. Again, it's parents with their children in their arms, and you're doing this shit. We wouldn't consider this normal in any other situation, and yet there's people on the right who are going to consider this normal because the two are fucking gay. You make the self-fulfilling prophecy where you push that person to the point where they feel like the only option they have left is to become violent, and then you suddenly get the narrative of, look how violent these people are. It's fucking disgusting.
You all deserve to be shot in the fucking head.
So, I should point, if we're talking about legally, if we're talking about legality of things, you are allowed to tell people they should be shot in the head. That's not actually something that I believe is protected, because that's not something that's not protected. Because I believe in most scenarios that's not considered intent. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am in most situations. Again, we live in a nation now that sees a girl make a joke about bombing and then we say that she's going to get 15 years for it. So, Jessa says, I will is definitely illegal, but you should, right. The statement, I will shoot you, is a threat. The statement, you deserve to be shot, is not the same level of threat. K-Buck says, also, who says those two were on the left? Remember, if you're a Republican, and by that I mean one of their pundits, they see anybody who's gay as on the left. Ignore the log cabin Republicans who are gay and are on the right. Sylvie says, hey, I was wanting to violence because I felt like I needed to get people to stop saying I should die because, oh gods, I'm a person. I don't like violence and I don't condone violence. I'm just sharing how I felt. Dave Rubin, yeah, Dave Rubin's gay and on the right. Said I was still in my valley though, so environmental factors. Yeah, I'm on the side of the couple. I know that legally they did assault and they're in the wrong and what the fuck ever. Again, legally, we did slavery. Legally is not where my head is here. Morally is where my head is here. And legality and morality, those are two things that have overlap but are not necessarily the same. Also, I'm just going to say right now that this is what happened. This is exactly what happened. This right here. No more. No less. Adults in the real world need to get accustomed with the idea, and I agree with K-Fox, people in the real world need to get accustomed with the idea that there are certain things you do and certain things you say that can be considered a threat to other people, and when you do and say those things, people may act accordingly. The rule is called FAFO. It's fuck around and find out. Will the Doctor says there's going to be a person where he does this to that ended up deciding to do more than just chase him away. Right. There's only so many times you can do this harassment to people and still be breathing by the time you're done. Again, legally, somebody should not take that action. But if you keep doing it, let's say that there's a 0.01% chance of it happening. If you keep doing it, once you hit 1,000 times, we're somewhere between 1 and 10% chance that it's going to happen to you. Axel says this kind of feels like a cancer child of the prank video era. Not 100% certain what you're talking about. Not 100% certain what that is in regards to. Wait a minute. Hold on. Interesting. From the Cornell Law School, this is somebody who posted under this video. Fighting words are words meant to incite violence such that they may not be protected free speech under the First Amendment. The U.S. Supreme Court first defined them in Chaplinsky versus New Hampshire as words by their very utterance inflict injury or tend to incite an immediate breach of the peace. I would say calling somebody a rapist and saying they're going to rape their child actually does to that definition. Interesting. It has been well observed that such utterances are no essential part of any exposition of ideas and are of such slight social value as a step to truth that any benefit may be derived from them is clearly outweighed by the social interest in order and morality. Oh, interesting. Maybe legally they're actually not fucking protected there. I was unaware of that. Actually, this is why you should never listen to YouTubers. I'm not an expert. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they actually are legally protected in assaulting the person. Can we please live in a world where wearing a swastika counts as fighting words? Because I think wearing a thing that says, I will slaughter an entire group of people is in fact fighting words. Rain B says fighting words are only applicable in some states, and then I guess it depends on where they are when they do this. The problem is, since this decision, lawyers argue over fighting words. Yeah, and you know what? The worst part is, I guarantee you the dude who's calling them a rapist has more money to spend on a lawyer in this situation. Rainby says, I don't think so, actually. I think it's a federal court decision. Again, I don't know. Somebody who is more interested in this kind of thing definitely can look up the specifics on that. And if there's actually a court case for this, if a court case happens in regards to this incident here, let me know. Go ahead and send me the links to when this happens, because I want to cover this situation a lot more closely. Because, Jesus Christ, we do not live in normal times anymore. Hey, you made it to the end. I want to give an extra thanks to the patrons who allow me to do this full time. I want to thank Aaron Rail, Astral, Britzkrieg, Jemshin, Poundini, Red Joker, Victoria, Jonas, Craig, Tarika, Fireshard, Smiling GM, John, Dren Hadamada, Creeper, Sagitta, you know I'm not saying that last part, Sylvie Snow, Valis of Seraph, Ottoman Angel, Rooster Rachel, and Fire Panda, who are all my $20 and up patrons.